Alrighty, so final boss Bon is here, and he's pretty crazy, but honestly, if you have the right units, which obviously a lot of people aren't going to have the right units for this at the time, because the ones that you need are on this new banner, and it's pretty skippable, honestly. Like if you're a free-to-play player or anything like that, it's definitely worth skipping on the banner. But honestly, I thought it was going to be a lot crazier, and I think it might have been really crazy for the JP players originally, because I feel like a lot of the content creators for JP, they really like, I mean, not that they don't know how to, you know, play the game, but they couldn't read what the skills and everything like that did, and obviously they had to translate it and everything like that, and I think it was just a lot harder for them to understand how it worked. And I mean, I'm terrible at stuff like this in general, so it's really hard for me to understand how some of it works, just reading it in English. But yeah, I think people have a lot better of a grasp on it, as far as like this being our first time doing it. Plus, obviously, they've already done it on JP, so there's already some experience there. So if we look at the top scores and everything like that, originally people were using the blue SR Arthur, which was, he's still a really good replacement if you don't have this blue Valenti. You can definitely use him. And then as far as like a damage dealer goes, a lot of people are using this blue Mono as of right now, which is really nice. I was able to pull it, like I was fortunate enough to actually get the characters, so I'm going to be using pretty much this same team right here. But if you don't have the Mono, obviously, if you have the new, the one Escanor, he obviously does really good damage in general, so you can kind of use him. But this team just really has a lot of utility and is really good for like the fight in general, because they can seal ultimate gauges and just really like good sort of like synergy with how the boss works. So obviously, I know a lot of people aren't going to have the right units for this right now, but we're just going to go through and kind of use it and see how it goes. I've already done quite a few like runs on this, and we're going to be using this sort of event food going on right here, because it gives you 40% extra damage when it's not in like PvP or deathmatch. So very good, because it also doesn't increase your CC food, and one of the challenges is to clear with a combat class under 20,000 or 200,000. Which, honestly, I was able to beat this without even Super Awakening Mono, and because she's the damage dealer on the team, she's the only one that I've Super Awakened. I really still haven't even Super Awakened my Lilia yet, but yeah, we're going to throw a Stamina Pod on right here, and I'm going to kind of show you guys how the fight works and give you the sort of rundown on it, because it's honestly not too bad. It can be very annoying, which I feel like all of the super bosses or final bosses can be, because they sort of have that really annoying sort of mechanic to it, where it's really RNG based to get a good score. But to be honest, this one, I'm just more interested in the costumes from this one than anything, and as long as you get, you know, top 30%, you'll be able to get the Elaine costume, and the Bond costume comes from the reward shop as well, so it's actually not too bad. Obviously, if you get really high up, you get extra rewards, but honestly, if you place in the top 50, you get all of the diamond rewards. Top 30, you get all of the costume rewards, so I'm not too worried about getting like an insane score, because as you've seen, I was in like top 5.5. But anyway, let's hop right into this. So Bon is going to be able to revive if he has 3 ultimate gauges and you kill him, and he can do that 3 times. So you want to make sure that if you have the Valenti, or even if you have the level 2 of Shadow Cut from Mono, you can seal the ultimate gauge and make it to where he can't gain any sort of ultimate, which is really nice. I think we're going to move those and combine, and then I think I'm just going to throw this out to get a little bit of extra damage on the board. But we want to save this move, this single target attack with Mono right here, because it removes buffs, and he's going to throw out a taunt at some point, which is actually going to make it to where we can only attack him, and I think it increases his HP as well. So we can actually remove it, and it actually does pretty good damage as well. Like you can see, it has a 220% modifier, even at level 1, so it's actually really good. So he should be queuing up one of the cards. Yep, he's got the buff card in his arsenal now. We can actually, we got lucky enough to seal his ult gauge one more time, but this is going to be kind of interesting. I think we're going to go for this, and then we don't have any ultimates that we can take off at the moment, like we don't need to, so we're going to seal his ult gauge and then use a detonate skill to hit Elaine a little bit harder. And then we've already got Elaine, or Valenti's ult. You want to kind of go into the second phase with 2 ults in hand, so that way you can get Bond down immediately. Because if you don't, it's going to be a whole world of trouble, because he's going to keep getting his ultimate gauge up higher, and Valenti can even like give him some of her ultimate gauge in phase 2. So it's really interesting how it all works. So he has the buff up. We are going to remove an ult gauge, hit him with this, and I think we're just going to go ahead and throw another one out as well, so that way we can try to kill, because this move does pretty good damage in general. So let's see if we can kill here. Kind of a close call. I'm assuming we got it. Yeah, you can see she does pretty good damage. Honestly, I'm very impressed with this blue mono. She's really cool so far. So we need to make sure that we can get Mono's ult and Valenti's ult going into phase 2 here. She's got an attack card in hand. Obviously, you have to worry about this, this one right here, because at level 2 and 3 it depletes ult gauge. So she's got a silver attack card in hand, which means she might deplete our ult gauge here. So let's kind of just throw out the detonate card, and we'll try to go ahead and get rid of that ult. And then we'll throw out this mono card right here. That should get our ults back, but just in case she ends up using the ult gauge removal card, let's hope we pull another Valenti card here, because we're not going to be able to kill that turn. I might have been able to do more damage if I used this, but it's honestly kind of nice to go into the second phase with one of these in hand, because he's going to start, Bond's going to start with a 20% HP increase buff, and it's nice to just go ahead and get that out of the way. So we're in a weird spot here. I think I might be able to kill here, but honestly, I'm not quite sure. We're going to throw a heal on just to kind of help ourselves out a little bit. I don't think this is going to kill. So close though. And I've had really weird runs so far with this. Like sometimes I'll go into it and like I literally had a run, the one before I did I'm doing the video right now, my mono actually died, or everybody but mono died, and I still got like a 2800 score, which was almost able to beat my current like personal best, which was really interesting, because just in general, like I was like, okay, like I've got a lot of dead units, like it's not gonna go very well, but it ended up working out, I guess. So we're gonna end up going into this phase with all 3 ults, which isn't the craziest thing in the world, honestly. Lilia's ult just really doesn't do a whole lot of damage anyway. It can decrease ult gauge, which is always kind of nice, but you want to make sure that Bond doesn't have 5 ult gauge in the second phase, because his ult gauge actually goes all the way up to 10, but he doesn't have an ultimate move, so he's not going to deplete his ult gauge at all. He's basically just going to keep gaining ult gauge, and Elaine actually has a skill where she can, I think, yeah, it removes 3 ultimate orbs from her gauge and then fills the ultimate move gauge of the ally by 3 orbs. So she basically just takes 3 from her and gives it straight to Bond, which is really bad. So you don't want that to happen. So we're going to throw on this and remove buffs. If I'm not mistaken, I think Valenti's normally ends up doing more damage. Obviously, it does more damage with buffed enemies. So I don't know if it's really worth getting rid of the buff first, or if you would want to go with this. But it does double damage. We're going to try it without it, just to see how much it does. And then we're just going to throw both of these out just in case, because I'm honestly more worried about getting him down than anything. So it did pretty good damage, but we're still going to have to end up using the second ult, which is fine. It's no big deal. As long as you get him down like right away, so that way he doesn't start reviving and everything like that, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Because Elaine's cards, she has 1 attack card, and then she has a card that does this, and it decreases your defense-related stats, which, you know, that's honestly not that crazy. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Well, actually, that's actually going to remove some ult gauge. So let's throw the detonate skill out just to get a little bit of extra damage off. I think we're going to heal a little bit here, and then I think we'll use a mono attack card, because she doesn't have ult in hand, so I can't really, it's not going to do me any good to deplete her ult gauge at the moment. So that was actually a good heal. Mono still does really good damage. Honestly, if you can ult rush another time, or like another character that does good damage, you can help get her down a lot quicker that way, and it may end up giving you more points. But I don't know. Her attack card does really high damage because she's going to lower your stats. So we're going to throw this out, deplete her ultimate gauge here, and then I think we're just going to throw out another mono attack card to get some more damage off. Which honestly, this might not be the best play in the world because it's taking me quite a few turns to actually get, you know, the damage dealt so that way she dies. But it is what it is. It may honestly be better to just ult rush, but I don't know. I'm still, you know, new to the fight. I'm not saying this is like the best guide in the world out there. I'm just kind of showing you how I'm going through and beating this so far because honestly, I just want the Bond cosmetics. I'm really interested in those cosmetics. So, and like I said, honestly, the rewards for like higher tiers and stuff like that aren't like the biggest deal in the world. So let's see what our score is. It's going to be like 2,500 or more probably. But some of the missions in this are actually pretty tough to get if you don't have like max ultimate with some of the characters. So we got 2675, which isn't the greatest. My current personal best, I think, is like 2881 or something like that. So you can see right here, if we removed more debuffs with Lilia's level 2 heal, it would have helped us out a bit there. And then removing buffs from the enemy with the buff cancel skill from Mono would have helped us out a bit. But honestly, it's all RNG based, and depending on like how long you let the fight go on. This is the biggest one right here. Dealing 400,000 damage in one attack, that's going to be really dependent on how high your ulti level is with probably Valenti or Mono, obviously. So I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot of RNG that goes into it. There's a lot of RNG that goes into all of these final bosses, but so far, this one has been pretty consistent as far as using this team for me personally goes. A lot of the times, whenever they end up adding final bosses and stuff like that, I end up having to, like, I'll do like a couple of good runs, and then sometimes there's just runs where it completely falls apart, which this is day one. So, I mean, as it goes on, I might end up having a few dead runs here and there. But so far, this one hasn't been too difficult as far as like actually being able to finish the run goes. A lot of the times when you get to phase 2, something will go like wrong, or maybe you don't have both ults going into it or something like that, and it ends up going, you know, it ends up falling apart and the whole run's dead, which I'm sure that'll happen eventually to me multiple times, I'm sure, while I'm trying to get the rewards from the shop. But this is just how it's going for me so far. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys are, you know, not having too much of a difficult time with this boss, because I know a lot of the characters are very, you know, locked behind a banner that nobody wants to summon on at the moment. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more content in the future, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you then.